FIGGIE Fiends and Collectors. This is me, Daniel East 1000, back again with a Star Wars The Black Series figure review. Today we're going to be having a look at two of the members from the Bad Batch, Hunter and Crosshair. I've been really looking forward to reviewing these figures, so let's first and foremost take a look at the packaging, then the figures themselves. So as you can see here, you've got the typical standard Black Series boxes. You've got a bit of a beveled edge on the side there with pictures of the characters themselves. On the front there you've got the media which they're from as well. A bubble where the figure would sit in at the top Star Wars The Black Series, and then on the back you've got a bit of a bio on each of the characters, as well as a nice picture there as well, and a ton of legal garb. On the side there's not really too much to go home about here. It's pretty standard stuff. I really do like the packaging for the new style figures. Like with the old one, you can take them out and then if you did so wish, rebox them. The reason why I'm reviewing both these two together is because the figures are relatively similar. To kill two birds with one stone, let's take a look at both these figures. And here they are. We have Hunter and Crosshairs, if my camera is going to focus. Both of these figures are absolutely fantastic. I will say which one my favourite is towards the end of this review. First and foremost, we'll have a look at Hunter, who is the leader of the group, and then we'll have a look at Crosshairs. So here we have Hunter with his bandana on and that skull on there as well. He kind of has a Rambo sort of look to him and feel. We've got his tattoo of the skull on his face there. If we look all the way round, got the knot, his long hair. It's not quite as spiky or wavy as it probably would look, but that's naturally to accommodate the helmets that can be fitted on, which I'm totally fine with. I'm sure there are people out there who might want to modify it just to make it look a little less flat, but it's fine, it does the job. I think both of these figures, Hasbro have really translated the animated look into live action, and at the same time there's kind of like an animated feel with them as well in terms of the bodies. I've seen a lot of people say, and I definitely do get that vibe. It looks very, very kind of animated styling really, which is interesting. So much like the Clone Wars, Ahsoka and other figures they've done for that animated series, they kind of fit the best of both worlds, which I do appreciate really. There's Hunter. On his shoulder pads you've got 99 because he is from Clone Force 99. With the skull there, named after Clone 99. Rest in peace. When you look around, I've got him holding his helmet, but I will put that on at some point in the review. The thing that I really like about both these figures, there's a lot of sort of scratching and scuff marks on the armour, like actually indented, which is really, really cool. Gives sort of a battle and war hardened look to the figure, which is great. So there's his boots and things. You've got all that red marking, and of course his backpack. Not really too much paint application going on with that, but that's fine. One thing I will say is his shoulder pads are a very rubbery material, like with the Boba Fett, of which I have reviewed, and you can check that video out there to see what I did with that figure. I took some boiling hot water and I just let that shoulder pad sit. It doesn't sit quite as flush as this one, but it's a lot better than what it was, and it was just completely warped in the box, unfortunately. But it was easily fixed with a bit of hot water, and it looks damn sight better than it did look. If I just pop his helmet on, that's one of his accessories, and that just sits on his head like so. It's a new sort of clone helmet and definitely has that animated look and vibe to it, but at the same time it still does match up fairly well on your shelf, and it kind of makes sense given that this guy is a bit different anyway as per the Bad Batch. Yep, you've got the kind of skull marking on the helmet there, and it does sit quite nicely. His backpack is removable, and it does come separate in the box just to make it a lot less chunky, and it sits very, very nicely. It doesn't, you know, fall out even quite roughly, and it won't pop out, which is great. That's one problem that you can have with Hasbro figures and the backpacks or jetpacks. They don't sit particularly nicely, but this one does. In terms of other accessories, he comes with this sort of Republic Commando blaster. It's not that big, it's quite small. I'm not too sure how accurate that is, but to me it works. It's got some nice sculpting on that, which is pretty damn cool. Not only that, but he has under this arm a holster for his knife. You can pull his knife out like he does in the show, which is great. And you can have him hold that. It's got some nice yellow detailing on it for like circuitry, but he does hold that quite nicely in either hand, and you do have some nice storage for that as well, which just sits in there quite snugly. Now, not only that, the last accessory he does come with, and there's nowhere to really store it on him unfortunately, but he does come with this smaller blaster pistol, which is in the same sort of style of Captain Rex's. And we have seen this one before, so there's nothing to really run home about too much about that. So he comes with an absolute ton of accessories, which I really do appreciate. In terms of articulation, I'll run through that towards the end because both this figure and Crosshairs are pretty much the same. That's Hunter for you, and I do think they've captured him incredibly well. So on to my favourite of the two. I know I said I would reveal it at the end, partly because of the first episode of The Bad Batch, and I was really looking forward to getting this one after seeing that episode. I can't put this one down. Crosshairs, who has a sublime likeness, as close to sort of live action as you could probably get from animated. You've got the crosshair on his eye as well, which is beautifully painted. We go around on his hair, it's grey, like it is in the show. Naturally, his arm does have some very subtle differences from the Hunter figure in terms of his shoulder pads and, you know, the strap that runs along here. And he also does come with a holster for his blaster. You can see the slot there where the knife accessory piece has been taken off or not been used. So the sheath for that would naturally stick into that. So yeah, these are effectively the exact same figure really, but you do have them Clone Force 99s printed on his shoulder pads there, with the skull as well. Of course, because this guy is the sharp shooter of the group, he comes with his sniper rifle. We'll go through some of the features of that in a moment. If we just continue on, this figure's exactly the same in terms of the scuff marks and scratching. They haven't really put any silver sort of scratching paint applications on this guy, which is fine. Got his helmet there, which is removable, and if I just pop that on, that's accessory number one really. That does have a moving visor. Naturally, because he is the sharpshooter, the sniper of the group, he does have a slightly bigger eye hole on his eye there, so you can see through his sniper. You've got that long piece here, which I thought was an antenna, but in the show he actually uses it as a sort of way to prop his sniper rifle on his shoulder. Just if he hasn't got anyone else or anything to sort of support it, he's got that there to kind of do the thing, which is pretty cool. It does actually serve a purpose in the show. You have got this sort of bandolier, and naturally, because he is a sniper and the sniper's going to give a bit of a kick when he fires it, with the butt there, he's got that piece of protection for his breastplate for extra padding to sort of suppress that recoil, which is a nice little touch in terms of the character design with that. But yeah, they've included that with the figure. You've of course got the shells there for his sniper. Has a place for his little tiny blaster, which is great. It's exactly the same as the one that comes with Hunter. I'll just show you that quickly. That's pretty great. And the sniper doesn't really have any, you know, paint features, but the sculpting on that's pretty great, and it does have a nice feature in that you can split it in half. It was a little bit tight when I first got it out of the packaging, but the more times you do it, it sort of becomes easier to do. But you can separate them, and on his backpack, of which is removable if you did so wish, it's slightly different to Hunter's in that it's got this gap on the back, of which you can slot his sniper rifle into there, kind of like so, and because it's got a little peg hole, there's a little peg on the actual sniper piece here, the actual barrel of the gun, and you can attach that in. And like in the show, you can have him lug it on his back. So there's lots of storage options on this figure if you didn't want him holding his weapons, of which I'm not sure why you would want to do that. But it's there and it's accurate to the show, of which I really do appreciate. So in terms of articulation for both of these figures, they have a ball jointed head and a ball joint in the neck, so they can look really far down and really far up. Butterfly joints, although they are a little bit tight on mine and they're a little bit difficult to do just because of the armour, but they are there. These shoulder pads are also fitted individually. They're not stuck on to the arms here. They kind of swivel independently with the arms, which is great. But yeah, the arms do swivel and they do go in and out on ball joints. Ball jointed elbows and ball jointed wrists, ball jointed torso, ball jointed hips, swivels at the tops of the thighs, ball jointed knees and ball jointed ankles on rocker joints. So you can get both of these figures in all the poses that you could possibly really want. I'm seriously impressed with both of these guys and what Hasbro have done, how they've taken something from animation and made it work with your live action figures while also retaining some of them animated features. Crosshairs, like I said, is probably my favourite out of the two, although that might be some bias towards the character, but Hunter is also pretty great as well. And with that being said, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on the other Bad Batch members. Overall though, I'm really impressed with both of these figures. I highly recommend them. If you haven't picked them up yet, why not? What are you waiting for? Which Bad Batch member is also your favourite member? Let me know in the comments down below. And this is me, Daniel East 1000, signing out, and thank you very much for watching.